It's Tuesday, January 15, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. Leading the news at this hour, an outspoken opposition senator is suggesting a downsizing of the Barbados Defense Force and a recruitment of terminated soldiers to fill the shortage in the Royal Barbados Police Force. Senator and trade union leader Caswell Franklin is putting forward the idea as a crime-fighting tool amidst escalating crime in the country. He tells Barbados Today it made no sense spending millions of dollars in taxpayers' money every year on an army which he says was not necessary in its present form.
The defense force needs to be downsized. Some of those people can be made police officers with the necessary training, and that will help with the crime situation. Right now, it is just a lot of talk about fighting crime, but we're not seeing any real action on the part of the government to do anything about it. Right? Have you seen any instance where the government has taken any initiative that, well, this is going to be a crime fight? No, just a lot of talk. And we are following, and worse yet, they are following up Dodge prison. There's a lot of young men and minor things, and they're not fighting the big stuff.
Government will launch its new jobs initiative for retrenched public workers at month end. That's according to Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, who says the registering process will commence soon. He said this was the government's way of easing the financial burden, now resting on the shoulders of those who were once sole breadwinners or who contributed to the upkeep of their homes.
Over the course of the next few weeks, we will be asking those persons, for example, who would have been already retrenched, to start their process of registration as suppliers for government, such that we can meet the 20% of government's procurement over the next 4 years, such that we are able to mitigate against, obviously, the fact that they have been severed from government. And so therefore, the reason why we said it's not a numbers game is from the perspective that given the thrust to encourage a lot more entrepreneurship, that we believe that once persons are able to come on board with respect to registering as suppliers and getting into the tendering process with respect to gaining that 20% of government's procurement, then we believe that that is a key transition point where government can use its, through policy, means that it is affirmative action in a very real sense. And given that over the course of the next few years, government cannot run any arrears, it means that anyone supplying government will be paid, and it allows these persons then to be able to, in a sense, start their businesses, but at the same supplying to government, but at the same time they can also supply to the rest of the private sector or anybody else outside of Barbados.
The minister also said that everything was on track for government to complete phase 2 of its restructuring of state-owned enterprises by the end of this fiscal year in March, having finished phase 1 last year. So
things are varying point. And so therefore, I think certainly by the end of this month, we'll have a clearer picture in terms of what's left to be done for phase 2, which is up until the end of March. But we are also keeping an eye on the continued rollout of some of the reforms relating to the phase 3 state-owned enterprises.
The president of the Barbados Economic Society says the latest upgrade by a regional credit agency comes as no surprise. The Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited, CARICRIS, assigned a rating of CARI-BB with a stable outlook, up from CARI-D on its regional scale local currency rating of the government of Barbados. CARICRIS also maintained its original scale foreign currency rating of CARI-D on the country's foreign currency dominated debt. However, the ratings agency warned that Barbados was not out of the woods just yet, as it expected the economy to grow between 0 and 1%.
CARICRIS's announcement comes as little surprise, and is actually consistent with Standard & Poor's decision to upgrade Barbados' local currency rating and maintain its default rating on foreign currency debt back in November 2018. The new rating reflects Carrie Chris's belief that the reduction in interest rates, extension of maturities, and haircuts to principal have improved the government's capacity to service its debt, but curiously, unlike S&P, suggests that the government's capacity to repay is still weaker than 12 months earlier when they previously assigned the rating of Carrie BBB.
In sports, Adam House are the undisputed champions of inter-house sports at St. Giles Primary School. They lifted the title for the fourth year running during the annual sports day held at the National Stadium yesterday. Adam House totaled 505 points to race away the trophy ahead of Brewster House on 399 points. Paris House finished in third position on 313 points, while Cumberbatch House finished on fourth with 253 points. The victor and victrix Ludorum were Caden Prescott and Rejada Hines.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In news from our regional neighbors, there will be an increased police presence in parishes across Bermuda. That's according to the island's police commissioner, who says his department will be placing heavy focus on community policing over the next 2 years as a means of tackling crime. More in this report from Jasmine Patterson of Bermuda Broadcasting News.
The 2-year plan involves a comprehensive review of the organizational structure of the Bermuda Police Service, led by Bermudian Superintendent Naima Aswood, the highest-ranking female officer in the BPS. According to the police commissioner, the key in addressing societal problems is community policing.
A significant area of investment is going to be in community policing, and many of you will be aware of our plans to launch the Parish Constable Scheme, where we will see police officers in each and every parish across Bermuda working on a day-to-day basis with local residents, community leaders, businesses and voluntary services, as well as the church. We're also going to focus very clearly around serious and organised crime. We recognise the challenge that we have in regards to gun-related violence, and we're going to do more work, more focused, and target those responsible.
It's suggested that community policing will help solve entrenched issues.
And on the international front, Prime Minister Theresa May warned opponents of a Brexit deal that they risk letting the British people down. Making a last-minute plea to save a deal, May warned that a rejection in Parliament on Tuesday could destroy people's trust in politics. May urged lawmakers to take a second look at the deal.
With no deal, we would have no implementation period, no security partnership, no guarantees for UK citizens overseas, and no certainty for businesses and workers like those I met in Stoke this morning. And we would see changes to everyday life in Northern Ireland that would put the future of our union at risk. And if, rather than leaving with no deal, this House blocked Brexit, that would be a subversion of our democracy, saying to the people we were elected to serve that we were unwilling to do what they had instructed. So I say to members on all sides of this House, whatever you may have previously concluded, over these next 24 hours, give this deal a second look. No, it is not perfect, and yes, it is a compromise.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.